This morning, Great Britain is marking the official birthday of King Charles, a chance for the most senior members of the royal family to gather for the traditional wave from the balcony at Buckingham Palace. King Charles, perhaps later today, toasting his birthday with one of his reported favorite drinks, a gin martini. It's been 3 centuries since gin was proclaimed the national drink in the UK, with its popularity worldwide ever changing. Over the last 15 years, there's been a surge, thanks in part to a resurgence in craft cocktails and an interest in artisanal spirits, like Haymons Gin. Established in 1863, it is the oldest family-owned distillery left in London, keeping tradition alive while still finding ways to innovate. We paid a visit to Haymons to get a taste.
So tasting spirits is very different to tasting wine because it's a much higher alcohol or ABV. So you have to get your nose used to it.
Okay.
So we actually call it the drive-by. Basically, just drive it past your nose, just to start getting your nose used to it. And actually, we want to be very royal. You can put your little finger out and do the king's wave.
Siblings Miranda and James Hayman, co-owners of Haymons Gin and fifth-generation distillers, the perfect guides for a London gin tasting.
So starting off with Old Tom.
Yep.
So I'll pour some samples.
Classics like Old Tom, the gin of choice in the mid-1800s.
But you get some citrus coming through, and you get those kind of piney notes, but you also get quite a mouthfeel. It's quite rounded, and I think that is the essence of Old Tom, is this roundedness.
And actually, you want all the flavours combined together, and yes, you can pull that, you can identify them.
London Dry came next.
It's a more rounded, it's a bit softer in style.
I definitely smell them more in this, and I don't know why. And maybe it's because I now have smelled it a little.
I think your nose is probably getting used to it.
Finally, a slow gin, an English liqueur created with the plum-like blackthorn fruit, or sloe.
They're actually quite bitter if you taste them on their own, but when you actually infuse them with London Dry, it just works.
Oh, wow.
It's good.
That could be really dangerous.
The Haymans can trace their spirits lineage back to 1863.
Take me back in time. How did this start?
From my great-grandfather.
Yeah.
James and Miranda's dad, Christopher, Hayman's 4th generation, the great-grandson of founder James Burrow.
He was actually born down in Devon in the southwest. Went to America as a pharmacist and set up a business. And then he came back and decided to buy a small drinks company, which, that was the start of it.
And at the time, the gin he created was a little different than what was out there.
It was. London gin's evolved over time, so the original London gin is Old Tom, and he was actually the first London distiller to put citrus into gin, which is very common today to find citrus in gin.
He's a great innovator and an entrepreneur at the same time, and quite determined to grow the gin business, and became well known for it.
Still based within a 4-mile radius of that first family distillery, Haymons is using the same recipes developed more than 160 years ago to make its classic gins today.
And we haven't changed anything. We changed nothing. In fact, Dad often says that if the original James came into the distillery and tried the gin, he'd go, "That's still my gin," and that's the way we sort of we benchmark how we make our gin.
The distilling process, also true to its origins, is a 2-day affair.
So on day 1, we take an English wheat spirit, we put it into our stills, we then load it with the botanicals, and then on day 2, we come back and run the distillation process. So we leave the botanicals to steep with the English wheat spirit for a day, really to pull out the flavour, the oils in the botanicals.
We always say that it really gives the balance to our gins and the complexity and the depth, because actually it's a bit like a slow cooker.
The 3 copper stills used for the process are also tied to tradition and family, named after 3 generations of Hayman women: Miranda, Mom Karen, and Marjorie, in honor of the original James's granddaughter.
And I often joke when I walk into distillery, I've got my grandmother, my mother, and my sister looking at me. So
keeping an eye on you, James.
Exactly.
The distillery itself filled with memories, with visits starting in childhood.
I used to come and help, and I used to get paid as well for it.
I used to work on the bottling lines when I was a student at university.
Yeah, and we did as well, actually. So
you did?
in the early years, I would come up and help out in the office. Before we went, we were at school and university, we'd come and work on the bottling lines during the holidays.
For me, it's the noise of the bottling line I never forget from when I was younger, and the intensity of the smell, the aromas, and actually nosing and thinking you're being quite grown up in the tasting rooms.
Those memories, like the gin itself, steeping. A one-of-a-kind training ground for a business where, at times, your nose is everything.
So this is the juniper berry, so if you just want to take a few, and if you want to kind of break it open, have a little sniff. That is gin. Those piney, refreshing notes. Wow. And that's what I remember as a child when I went to the distillery when I was about 8 years old.
This smell.
Is this smell.
Haymons uses 10 classic botanicals, including juniper, to make their family recipes.
So cassia bark is actually like sweet cinnamon.
And just like it did at the start, tradition has also paved the way for innovation, from a lower alcohol batch to a vibrant citrus. In makeup and flavor, new offerings remain true to the core taste of Haymons gin.
Dad always uses the story of orchestra, is that comparing gin to music. Because actually when you think of an orchestra or a piece of music, you have all the different parts, the winds, the percussion, the strings, and they all have their parts, but they all come together to make one harmonious piece of music. And we liken that to our gin recipes.
All playing their part, like the family itself.
It's good juniper hit on that one.
Christopher, Miranda, and James, together, custodians of the family legacy and the family business.
It really is more than just a job. It's a lifestyle. Absolutely. Because you're always thinking about where you work, the people you work with, and actually people that work with us really embrace a family business and enjoy being part of a family.
Christopher, for you, seeing the evolution of this through your children, what has that meant to you?
Ooh, excitement, pride, fantastic.
A little emotional. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you. That's wonderful.
I'm very proud.
And of course, Michelle, I had to bring you some Haymons.
Absolutely.
I've got a slow gin fizz for you. You have the slow gin in there that you can taste because I said it's dangerous.
I wanted to smell it.
And by the way, while you're taking a taste, as far as the next generation, the kids are too young right now, but we hope we see a sixth.